In today's video, we're going to be looking at lists in Python. So what actually is a list? A list is a collection of items that are separated by commas and enclosed inside of a square bracket. So in order to create a list, you need to have a square bracket and then you enclose items inside of the square bracket. So I can have something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is a list of numbers, and this list contains 5 items. What if you want to create an empty list? So to create an empty list, all you need to do is to provide a pair of square brackets. So I can have something like nums is equal to, and then I put a square bracket or a pair of square brackets with nothing inside of it. So this is an empty list. The next thing that we're going to look at is how to access the items inside of a list. Accessing items in a list. So in order for you to access the items that are contained in a list, you have to use what we call indices or positional indices. Let's take a look at this list again. This list contains 5 items. And these 5 items are positioned in such a way that the first item in the list has the index of 0, which means the second item has the index of 1, this one has the index of 2, and this one has the index of 3, and this one has the index of 4. So if you want to access any given item in a list, you have to access it using the index. And to do that, you are going to use the slicing operator. So let me copy out this and paste it here. So let's say I want to print out the first item in this list. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to say print, and then I provide the list, which is nums, and then I use a slicing operator and then provide the index of the item that I want to access. In this case, I want to access the first item, so that if I print this, it's going to give me 1. If I want to access the second item, I'm going to change this to 1, and if I run this, it's going to give me the second item. So if I want to access the 5th item in the list, I'm going to change this to 4 and then run it once again. Then it's going to give me 5. But if I try to access the item at the position of 5, so let me run this code and see what it's going to give us. So we're going to have index error, list out of index range. What this means is that there is no item at the position of 5. Now that we have learned how to access the individual items inside of a list, the next thing that we're going to learn is how to extract a portion of the items that are contained in a list. We'll call this slicing. So this is called slicing. So in order to perform slicing, you still use the slicing operator. But this time around, you are going to indicate where you want to start slicing from and where you want to stop. So let's say I want to extract a portion of this list. Maybe I want to fetch 1, 2, and 3. So let's call this result, and I put an equality sign, and then I put the list that I want to fetch a portion of it, and then I provide the slicing operator. The first thing that I'm going to do is that I'm going to provide the start index where I want the slicing to start. So I can put 0, and then I put a colon, and then the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to put the stop index where I want the slicing to stop. So in this case, let me put it 3. So let me print the result and see what is going to give us. So, but before I do that, let me clear my terminal. I can comment out this. So if I run this code, I'm going to get 1, 2, and 3. The 0 represents where you want the slicing to start, and the 3 represents where you want the slicing to stop. But what happens is that when it is slicing, it's going to extract all the items starting from the position 0 all the way to the position of 3, but not including the item at the position of 3. And that is the reason why 4 is not included in the results. So if I want to include 4 in the result, it means I'm going to change this from 3 to 4, so that if I run this code, it's going to give me 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I want to fetch all the whole items, I might as well say 0 to 5. So if I say 0 to 5 and run this code, it's going to give me all the items in the list. Let's say I want to start my slicing from 1. I can indicate the start position to be 1, and I want it to stop at the index of 4. I can change this to 4, so that if I run this code, it's going to give me 2, 3, and 4. Another way in which you can fetch all the items from a list is by removing the starts index and removing the end index. So the only thing I will have inside of the slicing operator is the colon. So this is the same thing as copy, so that if I run this code, it's going to give me all the items in the list. So the next thing we're going to look at is how to add or remove items from a list. So now let's look at how to add items to a list. So if you want to add items to a list, you can use the append method, or you can use the insert method. Let's start by looking at how to use the append method. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to create an empty list. So I can have something like nums is equal to, then I have my square bracket. So this is an empty list. Now I'm going to add something to this list, and I'm going to use the append method. I can say nums.append, and then I provide the item that I want to append. Maybe I will put 1. So if I print nums to confirm whether the append worked and run this program, is going to give me this outcome. If I want to add another thing to the list, I can say nums.append. This time I want to append 2. So if I say print nums and run this program, is going to give me 1 and 2. So if I want to add another item, I can say nums.append, then I can put 3. So if I print nums, it's going to give me 1, 2, and 3. So that is how the append works. So now we're going to look at the insert method. So for the insert method, I'm going to have a list. Let's call this a list of colors. So let's call this colors. And I have something like maybe yellow, and then I have another color, red. If you are to use the insert method, you are required to provide the index or the position where you want the insertion to take place. So let's add another color to this list using the insert method. So this is what we'll do. We'll write colors.insert, and then I provide the position, the index where I want the insertion to take place. Let's say I want it to be the first item in the list. So I'm going to put 0 as the index or the position where I want the insertion to take place. And then I will now provide the color which I want to add to the list. So let's call this color blue. So that if I print colors and run this code, it's going to give me blue, yellow, and red. And as you can see, blue happens to be the first item in the list. So let's say I want to make my insertion in between yellow and red. This means that I'm going to use 1 as the index or the position where I want the insertion to take place. So that if I run this code, it's going to give me yellow, blue, and red. So now we're going to look at how to remove items from a list. So there are two methods that you can use to remove items from the list. The first one is called pop, and then the second one is called the remove method. So we're going to start with the pop. So take a look at this list. There are 4 items in this list. We'll have yellow, red, blue, and green. So we're going to use the pop method to remove items from the list. So to do that, I'm going to have color, which is the item that I want to remove. And then I put the equality sign, and then I say colors dot pop. So let me print color and see what it will give us. So if I print color, it's going to give me green. Then let's print colors and see what it will give us. So if I print colors and run this program, it's going to show me yellow, red, and blue. So what the pop method does is that it removes the last item from the right from a list and then returns that particular item. So that is the reason why we used the variable color to receive the item that is being removed from the list. So the pop method removes the last item from a list and returns that item. So if I want to remove another color, this time around we'll have yellow, red, and blue. So if I want to remove blue again, what I'm going to do is that I can say color is equal to, then I say colors dot pop. So if I print color and run this program, it's going to give me blue. Then if I print the colors, print colors, and run the program, you can see that it's only yellow and red that is remaining. The blue has been removed. So another interesting thing about the pop method is that you can indicate the item or the position of the item that you want to remove from a list. Let's say I want to remove red from this list. So, and the position of this red is 1. So what I need to do is to include 1 inside of this parenthesis in the pop method. So I'm going to put 1 here so that if I run this program, it's going to give me red. And then if you look at the resulting list, you can see that red has been removed from the list. So now we're going to be looking at the remove method. An interesting thing about the remove method is that remove method allows you to specify the item that you want to remove from a list. So let's say I want to remove yellow. What I need to do is to say colors dot remove, and then I indicate the item, which is yellow. So that if I print colors and run this program, you can see that yellow has been removed. If I want to remove green, I'll just change this to green and then run this program. It will remove the green. So you have to keep in mind that when you are using the remove method, it removes the first occurrence of that particular item. So let's say I have another yellow here. If I change this to yellow and then run this program, it's going to give me red, blue, green, and yellow. This means that it removed the first yellow. And as you can see, the other yellow is still in the list. So whenever you are using the remove method, keep in mind that it only removes the first occurrence of that item in a list. Now we're going to look at how to iterate over a list. So list is a collection of items, and as such you can perform iterations on them. So you can use the for loop or while loop to loop through the items in a list. Let's have a list of colors again. Let's say we'll have colors is equal to, then I say yellow, I have green, I have, let's say, purple, Using the for loop, I can actually iterate or loop through the items in this list. So I can say something like for color in colors, and then provide the colon. I can say print color. If I run this program, it's going to print out all the items or all the colors contained in the list.